We desire more of you. Todah, Father. Todah, Rabbi Yahuwah. Barak your name, Father. That your will be done here this morning, Father. Let everything that we do bring honor and pleasure to you. Let it be an example to those that are seeking you. Let them find you, Father. Let them find you. But we're here today to find out about obedience. It's a subject that not many people care to hear about. It's almost a naughty word in this society, to obey, to be obedient to something. But for those that are truly seeking, there's no other way. But we need to know what that really truly means. See, obedience is an attitude of heart towards a higher authority. But since there's no Hebrew word for obey, what was the real meaning behind what is translated as obedience? I just assumed the actual word obey was in the Hebrew Bible. It's translated in our English Bibles. See, the word translated obey in our Bibles is the Hebrew word shema. Just as there is no Hebrew word meaning obey, there's also no English word for shema. Well, this Hebrew verb translates as hear. It means much more than just hearing or listening. The King James Bible chose the verb to hearken rather than to hear. But now nobody hearkens anymore, so the English translators of the Bible didn't know what to do with this verb. So they simply translated it as obey. But you're going to find that Shema equals so much more. It comes from the Strong's 8085, and it means to hear, heed, to listen to, or obey. From the Qual, to hear, or to perceive by your ear. To hear of, or of concerning. To hear, or have power to hear. To hear with attention or interest. To listen to. To understand, i.e., like language. To hear, such as in a judicial case, or to listen, or to give heed, to consent or agree, to grant request, to listen to or to yield to, also to obey or be obedient. Nifal means to be heard, a voice or sound, to be heard of, to be regarded, be obeyed. Pilel, to cause to hear, to call to hear, to summon. Pilel, to cause to hear, tell, proclaim, or utter a sound. To sound aloud, like a musical term. To make proclamation or summon, and also to cause to be heard. See, the Shema, the Strong's 8085, is used 1,160 times and is best translated by a combination of 4 English words: hear, heed, understand, and obey. And all this occurs over 1,000 times in Scripture, often in key version, as is translated variously as hear, 785 times, hearken, 196 times. Obey, 81 times. To understand, 9 times, and to be obedient, 8 times. So we find the Shema in scriptural names such as Ishmael, Strong's 3458. It means Elohim hears, according to Genesis 16:11. Simeon, Strong's 8095. He who hears, Genesis 29:33. And Samuel, or Samuel, Strong's 8050. Means he who hears Elohim, 1 Samuel 1:20. The first use of the Shema is in the context of hearing Yahuwah's voice and walking with Yahuwah. Unfortunately, the first use is a negative in that Adam only Shemas Yahuwah after he has already Shema'd Eve, who in turn has Shema'd the serpent. As a result, Adam's response to fear and flight rather than to hear and delight. In Genesis 16, verse 2, Abram not only listened, but obeys Sarah's voice. He didn't hear her. He did what he was told. However negative the consequences were. Shema can range in meaning from merely hearing a sound, though usually the sound of a voice, through the kind of hearing that indicates assent and action, such as in the hearing of Manoah's prayer in Judges 13, verse 9, or the non-hearing of the prayers of sinners according to Jeremiah 11:11 and Ezekiel 8:18. Clearly, hearing means response and non-response in these cases. Micah expresses the beautiful words, "My Elohim will hear me." The first time the Shema here appears in Scripture, this is in Genesis 3, verse 8. And they heard Shema, the sound of Yahuwah, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And the man and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahuwah among the trees of the garden. Adam and Eve had just sinned and eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This scripture shows us Yahuwah's response to them in spite of their sin. In spite of them not following their hearing hearts and doing what Yahuwah requires of them. Yahuwah came walking through his garden in the cool of the day. The word walk is halak, and it has the idea of moving or going as opposed to just sitting there. The term cool of the day wasn't just added as a poetic phrase. The word cool is the word ruach, which is the word for spirit. So immediately following their disobedience, they heard Shema, the ruach, or the spirit of Yahuwah in the garden, ready to walk with them, eager to enjoy fellowship and fellowshipping, ruach to ruach with them. They heard his ruach come into the garden, desiring to be with them like always. To hear, or the Shema is hearing with understanding, attention, and with the response. Response to what, though? To come to him and walk with his ruach as usual, allowing the winds of his ruach to blow over them and make things right. Our translations tell us that Yahuwah said, "Where are you?" Actually, in the Hebrew, it is a Semitic idiomatic expression meaning he is nowhere. Yahuwah wasn't asking a question here. He wasn't asking where Adam was. He was crying out, "Adam is nowhere in my heart." Think about that for a minute. That's a whole different perspective than what we've been taught. Yahuwah was crying out that Adam is nowhere in his heart. This is not a picture of an angry Elohim who is looking for Adam so that he can punish his disobedience. The first look at sin for us is a picture of caring father so sad that his son left his heart. Oftentimes, we falsely assume that having ears equates to listening. But most oftentimes, it does not mean that someone is hearing you and understanding you. So what does Yahuwah require from us? He's looking for Shema Levat, for hearing hearts. A hearing heart is a heart that is intent on or committed to doing whatever Yahuwah commands, whatever he asks from us. And most importantly, a hearing heart is rooted in ahava, in love. Deuteronomy 11:1, John 14:15, and 1 John 5:3. At the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11, verse 7, the lips or languages of mankind were confused, and henceforth men could no longer hear one another. Clearly, they could hear noises and strange accents, even foreign words, but they meant nothing to them. So the word implies understanding in this key situation. Shema is used in the sense of discernment in Genesis 41:15, when Joseph is described as one able to Shema a dream for Pharaoh. A chapter later in Genesis 42:23, Joseph uses a language interpreter to speak to his brothers while they do not realize he can actually understand them all along. Probably the most famous use of Shema is in Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah, our Elohim. Yahuwah is Echad, he's one. The opening words of the Hebrew Shema, or creed. After the dispersion of Babel, Yahuwah calls and reforms a people for himself who will hear and obey, or hear and do. At Sinai, he gives them the look of the book of the covenant through Moshe, to which the people respond, we will do and obey. Exodus 24, verse 7. Interestingly enough, doing precedes obeying, and the latter is the word Shema again. Literally, then, we will do and hear. So today, let's have hearing hearts that do. Let's respond to him. Walk with his Ruach, committed to doing whatever he asks. Today, let's be hearers and doers, just like the scripture says. See, Yahuwah promises to set Israel high above all the nations of the earth if they will hear. If they will really hear and obey. See, we got to hear, and then we got to do what we hear. Deuteronomy 19:5 speaks of this, as well as Exodus 19:5 and Deuteronomy 28:1, which is a phrase made up from a double use of the Shema. So in the Greek Tanakh, or the Old Testament Septuagint, Shema is often translated to hearken. This in turn is used in the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, with the sense of to obey. So the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament's description of Amunah, or faith, according to Romans 10:17, as necessary for salvation and in order to please Yahuwah, Hebrews 11:6. Amunah, or faith, is said to come by hearing, shemaing, i.e. by hearing, heeding, understanding, and obeying. In the Gospels, too, hearing, understanding, and obeying, or doing, are linked in Matthew 7:24. The house upon the rock in Luke 8:21, as well as 11:28, Yahusha's family are hearers and doers of the word. To hear is not enough. You must understand and act upon it. To these more shall be given, according to Mark 4:24. Ears to hear, Matthew 11:5, 13 verse 9, as well as 43. Mark 4 verses 9, 23, as well as 7 verse 16. Luke 8:18 and 14 verse 35. In Revelations 2 and 3, to each of the 7 churches, in verses 13 verse 9, is a Hebraism. In Deuteronomy 29 verse 4, and Ezekiel 12:2, meaning he who has understanding and a desire to obey, or a desire to do. Many times Yahusha introduces his parables with, hear this parable, i.e. understand it, listen to it, comprehend what it's saying to us. John 14:15 starts off, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. But Peter and the apostles answered, we must obey Yahuwah rather than men. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the passions of your former ignorance. For this is the love, or the ahava of Yahuwah, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not burdensome. If you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the land. I have chosen the way of faithfulness. I set your rules before me. But if you carefully obey his voice and do all that I say, then I will be an enemy to your enemies and an adversary to your adversaries. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I tell you to? For he held fast to Yahuwah. He did not depart from following him, but kept the commandments that Yahuwah commanded Moshe. But I do as the Father has commanded me, so that the world may know that I love the Father. Whoever keeps his commandments abides in Elohim, and Elohim in him. And by this we know that he abides in us, by the Ruach whom he has given us. Truly, truly I say to you, if anyone keeps my word, he will never see death. I hasten, and do not delay to keep your commandments. But this command I give them: obey my voice, and I will be your Elohim, and you shall be my people. And walk in all the ways that I command you, that it may be well with you. But he said, Baruch, rather are those who hear the word of Yahuwah and keep it, or do it. I will keep your Torah continually, forever and ever. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror, where he looks at himself and goes away and at once forgets what he was like. But the one who looks into the perfect Torah, the Torah of liberty, and perseveres, being no hearer who forgets, but a doer who acts, he will be Baruch in his doing. Hallelu, or praise Yahuwah. Baruch is the man who fears Yahuwah, who greatly delights in his commandments. And being made perfect, there's that word most don't want to hear, that you can actually be made perfect. Yahushua was. He also told us that we need to be perfect as he and the Father are perfect. So he's saying here, being made perfect, he became the source of eternal salvation to all who obey him. Yahushua answered him, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. And every work that he undertook in the service of the house of Yahuwah, and in accordance with the Torah and the commandments, seeking his Elohim, he did with all of his heart and prospered. Teach me to do your will, for you are my Elohim. Let your good Ruach lead me on level ground. You are my friends if you do what I command you. Whoever has my commandments and keeps them, he it is who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him. And being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on the stake. So when I think on my ways, I turn my feet to your testimonies. Now, therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, you shall be my treasured possession among all peoples, for all the earth is mine. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. For as by the one man's disobedience the many were made sinners, so by the one man's obedience the many will be made righteous. Know therefore today, and lay it to your heart, that Yahuwah is Elohim in the Shamayim, above and on the earth beneath. There is no other. Therefore you shall keep his statutes and his commandments, which I command you today, that it may go well with you and your children after you, and that you may prolong your days in the land that Yahuwah your Elohim has given you for all time. And you shall do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah, that it may go well with you, and that you may go in and take possession of the good land that Yahuwah swore to give to your fathers. Do you not know that if you present yourselves to anyone as obedient slaves, you are slaves to the one whom you are obedient, who you obey, either to sin, which leads to death, or of obedience, which leads to righteousness? Only be careful to observe the commandments and the Torah of Moshe. And the servant of Yahuwah commanded you to love Yahuwah your Elohim, and to walk in all his ways, and to keep his commandments, and to cling to him, and to serve him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls, as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be of no advantage to you. And whatever we ask, we receive from him, because we keep his commandments and do what pleases him. And Samuel said, has Yahuwah as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of Yahuwah? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to listen than the fat of rams. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Yahuwah and money. So why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I tell you? Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and does them, I will show you what he is like. He is like a man building a house who dug deep and laid the foundation on the rock. I think that rock is Yahusha. When we dig deep, we find him, we build our foundation upon him. That's a solid foundation called the rock. And when a flood rose and streams broke against the house and could not shake it because it had been well built. But not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of the Shamayim, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in the Shamayim. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of Yahuwah and take every thought captive to obey Mashiach. So also, Amunah by itself, if it does not have works, it's dead. In the pillar of the cloud, he spoke to them. They kept his testimonies and the statutes that he gave them. The end of the matter, all has been heard. For Yahuwah, and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of a man. The wise of heart will receive commandments, but babbling fools will come to ruin. I understand more than the aged, for I keep your precepts. I hold back my feet from every evil way, in order to keep your word. I do not turn aside from your rules, for you have taught me. Through whom we have received grace and apostleship to bring about the obedience of Amunah for the sake of his name among all the nations. If you walk in my statutes and observe my commandments and do them, then I will give you your rains and your seasons, and the land shall yield its increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. Your threshing shall last to the time of the grape harvest, and the grape harvest shall last to the time of sowing. And you shall eat your bread to the full, and dwell in your land securely. I will give shalom in the land, and you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will remove harmful beasts from the land, and the sword shall not go through your land. You shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. As Yahusha passed on from there, he saw a man called Matthew sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." And he rose and followed him. Whoever keeps the commandments keeps his life. He who despises his ways will die. I incline my heart to perform your statutes forever, to the end. The fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. All those who practice it have a good understanding. His praise endures forever. Children, obey your parents in Yahuwah, for this is right. Honor your father and mother. This is the first commandment with a promise, that it may go well with you, that you may live long in the land. And Peter said to them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, for the forgiveness of your sins, and you will receive the gift of the Ruach HaKodesh. You see that a person is justified by works and not by Amunah alone. And this is the love, or the Ahava, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, just as you have heard from the beginning, so that you should walk in it. For as the body apart from the Ruach is dead, so also is Amunah, or faith, apart from works, or doing, is also dead. But be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. So if you know these things, Baruch are you if you do them. Although he was a son, he learned obedience through what he suffered. When a man's way pleases Yahuwah, he makes even his enemies to be at shalom with him. See, I can do nothing on my own. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of him who sent me. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases Yahuwah. For Yahuwah so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For Yahuwah did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. And he said to them, if you kept all that Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, commanded you, and have obeyed my voice in all that I have commanded you. And this is Ahava, that we walk according to his commandments. This is the commandment, just as you have heard from the beginning, so that you should walk in it. For many deceivers have gone out into the world, those who do not confess the coming of Yahushua HaMashiach in the flesh. Such as one is the deceiver and the anti-Mashiach. Watch yourselves, so that you may not lose what we have worked for, but may win a full reward. Everyone who goes on ahead and does not abide in the teachings of the Mashiach does not have Yahuwah. Whoever abides in the teachings has both the Father and the Son. Therefore, my beloved, as you have always obeyed, so now, not only as in my present, but much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. For we are his workmanship, created in Yahushua HaMashiach for good works, which Yahuwah prepared beforehand, that we should walk in them. But thanks be to Yahuwah, that you, who were once slaves to sin, have become obedient from the heart to the standard of teaching to which you were committed. And we are witnesses to these things, and so is the Ruach HaKodesh, whom Yahuwah has given to those who obey him. And he said to him, why do you ask me about what is good? There is only one who is good. If you would enter life, keep the commandments. Baruch are those who keep his testimonies, who seek him with their whole heart. Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the Torah of the Mashiach. And we know that for those who love Yahuwah, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. If he comes in the second watch or in the third and finds them awake, Baruch are those servants. See, I am setting before you today a baraka and a curse. The baraka, if you obey the commandments of Yahuwah, your Elohim, which I command you today. And the curse, if you do not obey the commandments of Yahuwah, your Elohim, but turn aside from the way that I am commanding you today, to go after other Elohims that you have not known. And the world is passing away along with its desires. But whoever does the will of Yahuwah abides forever. To those who keep his covenant and remember to do his commandments. As for that in the good soil, they are those who, hearing the word, hold it fast in an honest and good heart, and bear fruit with patience. So Yahushua said to the Hebrews, who had believed in him, if you abide in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. For Ezra had set his heart to study the Torah of Yahuwah, and to do it, and to teach his statutes and rules in Israel. And they were both righteous before Yahuwah, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and statutes of Yahuwah. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 more talents. His master said to him, well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over little. I will set you over much. enter into the joy of your master. Barak Yahuwah, O you, his Malakim, you mighty ones who do his word, obeying the voice of his word. The scepter shall not depart from Yehuda, nor the ruler's staff from between his feet, until tribute comes to him, and to him shall be the obedience of the peoples. Your testimonies are wonderful, therefore my soul keeps them. For the people of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness until all the nation, the men of war who came out of Mizraim, perished, because they did not obey the voice of Yahuwah. Yahuwah swore to them that he would not let them see the land that Yahuwah had sworn to their fathers to give to us, a land flowing with milk and honey. I keep your precepts and testimonies, for all my ways are before you. Yahusha said to him, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So my son, keep the Father's commandments and forsake not your mother's teachings. So the Torah is kadosh, and the commandment is kadosh, and righteous, and good. Oh, that you had paid attention to my commandments. Then your shalom would have been like a river, and your righteousness like the waves of the sea. Your offspring would have been like the sand, and your descendants like its grains. Their name would never be cut off or destroyed from before me. So I always take pains to have a clear conscience towards both Yahuwah and man. And if you faithfully obey the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim, being careful to do all of his commandments that I command you today, Yahuwah your Elohim will set you on high above all the nations of the earth, and all these barakas shall come upon you and overtake you, if you obey the voice of Yahuwah your Elohim. Baruch shall you be in the city, and Baruch shall you be in the field. Baruch shall be the fruit of your womb, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your cattle, the increase of your herds, and the young of your flock. Baruch shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. Simply Shema. Simply hear and do. Obey. Now we have a better understanding and much deeper revelation of what he's really saying here, that we have to pay attention to, we have to heed, we have to do. Then all of these things which he has commanded us and that he has promised us, we will see come to pass. For his word will not return to him void. So we got to understand that when we are obedient to him and his ways, that we shall eat of the good of the land, that we shall do things that Yahusha did, and even greater things, he said. So we need to continue to press in and to strive to do and to be what he has described in his scriptures for us to do and to become, how we ought to walk, how we ought to live, how do we honor each other, how do we love each other, and in turn love him back. See, I believe that it comes through hearing his word, understanding what his word is saying, recognizing what it's trying to tell us, and then begin to do it. Begin to act upon what it is telling us to do. See, there's some folks that I have come into contact with recently that are out here doing some amazing things for the name of Yahuwah. They're walking by Amunah, or faith. They're out there doing and being led, and they are seeing things happen. It was because they are being obedient. They're stepping outside of themselves. They're walking in what you and I understand as being Amunah, or our faith. And in doing so, they're affecting those that they're coming in contact with, but it's also affecting them. They're seeing the hand of Yahuwah move in their lives, and it is powerful. It's a powerful witness to them and to those that are witnessing it with them. And you and I have had so many experiences over this time together that you and I are seeing the same fruit. Because if we're walking in accordance to his word, if we are really trusting and believing what that word says, that he has spoken to us, if we're digging deep to find the promises that are not corrupted, or at least not as corrupted as we once were believed, then we're going to be able to understand, what is this word saying to us? What is Yahuwah really saying to you and I? What is it going to take for us to get to the other side? What is it going to take for us to be able to walk with him again, to talk with him, to actually hear what he's saying? According to the scriptures, it's what we studied today. We need to dig in to this word and feast on it. We need to really concentrate and focus on, what is it saying to you and I? Because it's only when you understand something that you actually can conceive what it's telling you to do, that you can actually act upon it. And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of believers today, is they're confused as to what is it I'm supposed to do. But if you pull away all of the doctrines that are out there that are really deceiving people, the basis of this walk that you and I have is to go back to the ancient path, to go back to the Torah, to understand what the Torah is telling you and I, and to begin to live it, begin to do it to the best that we can. Of course, there's many things in there that have been fulfilled by the Mashiach, and we need to know what those are. But that doesn't stop us from believing and being obedient to the things that will never change until all things are fulfilled. And that is his Torah. That is his guideline, his outline for us, as most people would call his law. But if you and I are afraid to do it, then we might as well not do it at all, because you're not going to receive any benefit, or very little benefit, from just walking aimlessly in this life. There's too many in this world that are already doing that. And it's time that we come out of that we come out of what we've been taught, that we will come out of those things which we believe to be true at once, and to revisit them again, but with fresh new eyes that you and I have been given, so that we can begin to see the errors of our ways, so that we can start putting the pieces together to say, I understand now what caused this to happen, what causes that. That takes us down the path of these generational curses and soul ties and all these other things that get in the way because of our disobedience. So I encourage each and every one of you that are hearing my voice today, wherever you might be, whatever time you're hearing it, it doesn't matter, for this time is eternal, and the message is powerful, and it will set you free. It will bring you out of your captivity, out of your burdens, out of those, and it will destroy all of the strongholds in your life. I can assure you, if you will just put your effort into seeking him with everything you have, and making a decision that you're going to obey him and his word, you're going to find out that what you're giving up is nothing compared to what you're receiving. And the things you're giving up are only leading you to death and destruction anyhow. So why hold on to those things any longer when you can be free from them? But you have to make the decision to resist the temptations and to turn to righteousness. When you come to this knowledge of this truth and you become obedient to the things that are described for us to do, this life changes us. It transforms us. It renews our minds and our thinkings and our understanding, and those things which we once held dear to us now are abomination to us. They no longer have the desire they once had. And if they do, then those things, if they are leading you to sin, they need to be broken. And then you need to begin to walk in obedience. That's how we get set free in this life. And there's many of us that are being set free each and every day because they're walking in the truth of what the scripture is telling them, of what is required for them to be free. So I just pray, Father, that you will move and speak to each person that is yours, that is hearing this message, and that is heeding the warnings and the words that are contained within this. I pray that you will place upon them that desire to turn away from those things which they need to turn away from, and to pursue those things which you are leading them to. That you will lead and guide and direct their paths and their footsteps, that they shall not stumble and fall, but that they shall follow you and find you, and that they shall adore you and love you, and that they will live their lives for you because they want to be obedient to you. So I pray for them wherever they may be, Father. Let your will continue to be done in each one of your children's lives so that they may live a Baruch life in you. We give you all the praise through and in Yahushua HaMashiach. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Barak Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All righty. Now let me get back to the board here so we can have some conversations with all you fine folks out there. And I guess I'll start with Brother D. Milo, if you're there, would you like to comment this morning, add anything? For some reason I can't unmute you.
Shalom.
There he is. Wasn't on my end. Shalom.
It gives me the option to unmute. No, it was good. I got to check out the idiom that you mentioned in regards to when Yahuwah first walked into the garden after their sin. But this isn't foreign. I just think a lot of it reminds me of marriage, and I think that's why marriage covenants are so important, because Yahuwah can speak to me in a lot of it. If I tell my husband something that's in my heart or vice versa, the way I know he heard me is, or the way he knows I heard him, is through our actions. And I think it's just how any relationship really works. If we were really just to sit down and think about it, there's some type of expectation if people are talking to us or we're, sharing our hearts, that there's action based on what we're saying, and that they're hearing our desires. Like sometimes I can say, Daddy, like, did you hear me? And I'm not saying, did you hear me with your ears? I'm saying, are you really hearing my heart? Or vice versa. When he does it to me, like, babe, did you hear what I said? And he's really asking me, like, are you paying attention with what I'm really, my desires, and are you holding that? And then I can see the fruit of what I'm asking of you or telling of you. So I thought it was good. And obedience is very, very, very important to our Father. It's a good message.
Couldn't agree with you more. Well, thank you for your words this morning. And I feel that the same as you do. I mean, you're right on with that assessment. And it's pretty simple. If we are hearing and listening, we're going to end up having to do. You can't get away from that. And doing is believing, in my opinion. So,
agreed.
Kind of hard to believe and not do something if you know it's going to be good for you. It's going to change the direction you're walking in. So, well, thank you again.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Is that you, Mike? Are you with us this morning?
Yes, sir. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Awesome message. Well needed.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not one of those messages not many people want to hear. It's a hard message to listen to, and most people are not walking in obedience. So,
that's why it's a good message. So,
but I found it interesting that there is no real Hebrew word for obey.
Yeah, that was cool when you said that. I think I heard that before, that there's no English word for Shema, but we're looking at it backwards. There's no Hebrew word for obey. It's more than that.
Right. You gotta have 4 English words to make up one Hebrew word.
Yeah.
To get the full concept of what it's really about. So.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Anything else you'd like to add this morning?
No, not specifically. You got anything, bro? No, it's just an awesome message, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. Shalom. All right, Brother Rod, coming to you next. See what kind of wisdom you got for us this morning.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
There you are.
Yeah, I agree with Milo though. It shows up in our relationships, and I think that's why Yah uses marriage so much as a picture of him and us. Like she said, my wife often says to me, I don't think you're hearing me.
Yeah, right.
So I said, no, I heard you. No, I don't think you're hearing me because it does require a change in action. It requires a movement in doing something if you heard something particular, that is being requested or spoken of. And I think, as we look at our walk, it's the very picture of they will know who you are by your fruit. If you are producing fruit, you are doing what Yah has called us to do. And obedience is the key to that. And I think it's very, very misunderstood as well on the whole. And that it requires that we obey everything that he said. So other than that, I absolutely have nothing to add. I thought it was beautifully put. It was arranged well. You delivered it well. I like how you stopped. When you had some side thoughts and you didn't just read, you said what was on your heart. And that's what blessed me most. But awesome word, and I'm feeling it. Trust me, I'm feeling it.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that it was conveyed the way properly, and that it did what it was supposed to do, and hopefully it does make some changes in those lives that are needing to have some changes made to them. I know for me, that's a subject that, when you look at it, you think of it in one narrow way, but what I'm hearing here in just a few people I've talked to is there's actually some different thoughts that they're getting from that, the action that you're talking about, the interaction that is required. I don't think people hear that when they hear obey. They think it's a one-way thing. I'm doing what I'm told to do, and that's it. But I think it's so much deeper than that, when it comes to Yahuwah.
Absolutely.
So, well, very good. Anything else? Your wife have anything she'd like to add this morning?
Yeah, she's right here.
I just wanted to give my greeting, Shabbat Shalom, to everyone.
Same to
you. And I completely echo every word Brad said. I can't say anything any better. So thank you very much for taking the time to share that this morning.
Hallelujah. Well, we appreciate that. It's good when there's when it's settled that good, where there's not much more you can say, huh? I like that when these studies get done and we get to that place where everybody's content, then I guess the message has hit home, and that's what this is all about. So, hallelujah. I think this is Brother Stacy down here. Is that you, Stacy?
Shabbat Shalom.
Good morning. Shabbat Shalom, my friend.
Good morning. Good morning. I just want to say wonderful teaching this morning, as always. I agree with everything you said. And it's just a reminder to us that we have to become great listeners in order to hear what Yahuwah has to say to us. And then once we hear it, we have to do it. So it's not a one-way street. He shows us throughout Scripture that if we do his word, then he has blessings for us. So it's a two-way street. You do as you're commanded and you are blessed.
Yes. Hallelujah. I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah, and again, I just want to say thank you for your teaching, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Same to you, my friend. Thank you, Stacy. We appreciate you.
Toda, Aki.
Toda. All righty, I'm going to move over here to Miranda, since you two go together.
Hello, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Good morning.
Good morning.
What you got to add for us?
It was a very good message. Yahuwah is love, and you can't just say I love you. You've got to show it. So, it was a very good message.
Well, thank you. It's always good when we're on time with any kind of message and it's speaking to those that have an ear to hear it. So once again, thank you and Shabbat Shalom for your input and your presence always.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Hallelujah. All righty, Brother Hugh and Eloise, coming your way next. What you got for us?
Oh man, it's an awesome message. We thank for putting that word in you, and we're in agreement with everyone. And, it's an awesome message, and we stated, and like I said, the obedience is a serious thing, and you will be rewarded for it. So thank you, and Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. All right. Sister Kathy, coming to you. I'd like to see some wisdom that you got for us this morning. Anything you'd like to add?
Not really. It was a good refresher for sure. I try to do my best before Yahuwah every day, and I always give the day to him, you know.
Right.
I walk and talk with him all day long. But I just got up because I remembered I had this little thing on my refrigerator. I don't know where I got it. I believe Charles Stanley, but this was years ago. And I wrote it down. And it says, Yahuwah is responsible for the consequences of our obedience. And we are responsible for the consequences of our disobedience.
Wow. Wow, that's powerful right there.
Yeah, I wrote that. It's almost turning yellow. It's been up there for a long time. Yeah.
Well, that puts it into perspective right there pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it was, it always goes back to the commandments, you know, and those are the things we have to really engrave in our minds and hearts, like it is on stone, because that's our instructions. So, Other than that, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And
Shabbat Shalom, Kathy.
Have a Barak day for sure.
Shalom. Thank you. You too. Shalom. All right. I think this is Avon, and is that you over there in the 336?
336, that's me. Shabbat Shalom.
Who's this on 336?
Joan.
Oh, Joan. I thought I seen you earlier. I guess that was June I must have seen. Okay. Well, good morning. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So, yeah, that was very good. Very, very good. I would like to later on maybe hear what you have to say about what you just said. He who has an ear, let him hear. As if everybody doesn't have an ear. He said that. And Yahusha said that also. So I wanted to see, what you thought about that. Maybe at a later time, where was he really going with that? He who has an ear.
Well, I think what he's talking about there is those that are his called ones, the chosen ones that have an ear to hear him calling them out of this dark desert, if you will. And he says that, unless they have an ear to hear, they're not going to hear. A lot of that hearing also comes by them spending time in the Word. So I think that those people that are pursuing him, studying, seeking, that are really looking to him are the ones that have their ears open and have an ear to hear because they're willing to hear it. And I think it takes it another step further, if you will, when you talk about what do they do with it when they do hear. I think that's a big key because you can hear something, but if you don't do it, it really isn't no benefit to you. So I think I think when you're talking about in that type of a scripture, it's those that have been given an ear to hear those that use that ear to hear, and they respond to what they hear, and they pursue what they're hearing, and they intentionally put attention on what they're hearing. I know for me, when I was walking, and my desire was very strong to know him, to hear his voice clearly, so that I wouldn't miss any more opportunities, and so that I would stay on that path, if you will. And it was when I desired to hear, and I was pursuing that he actually gave me the ears to hear. And that might have been the moment that the Ruach took a hold too. But it may have been before that, before I actually, surrendered to who he is, because of where I was in this walk and in the world teachings. But my heart was still right. I still had that desire and the intent, just like everyone else I've heard on this call that I've been walking with. They have that desire that they want to go deeper, and they want to hear. And I think those are the ones that actually have an ear to hear. If somebody has another answer that would help complement that, most certainly raise your hand. But I think that's really what this is entailing, if you will. And I see Brother D quickly rose his hand. Welcome to us this morning, Brother D.
Sorry, this is Milo again.
Oh, Milo, you tricked me.
No, I agree. I was looking at the passage, Yuhukanon, John 10:27. It says, "My sheep," this is Yahushua speaking, "my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." And in real life, from my understanding, what I've studied is that sheep can actually distinguish the shepherd's voice from another. Like, they won't respond to someone that's not their shepherd if they're calling them for feeding times and things like that. So I agree, not everybody is able to distinguish the voice of the Most High and his Ruach if they are not of him. Because we need to abide in him, and those who don't abide in him cannot hear him. And even talks about how the gospel is a stench to those perishing, but is a sweet aroma to those that are coming to life. So I don't think it's a matter of the physical ear. I think it's much more those who are actually going to be able to understand the parables, those who are, like you said, given to him. As Jesus says, I came for those who the Father has given me. And not just at that time, but in the future as well, including this age and in the future, those who are going to come to him. So it's much more of being able to discern in his spirit and hearing our true Father call us back home rather than the prince of this air right now. That's all.
So it's the lost sheep of Israel that he's come for that are probably the ones that'll have an ear to hear in this world that we're talking about. So I think you brought up a good point there that I was kind of leading to, but you finished it for me. So thank you for helping me there. But that's what I think it is. Those lost sheep, his chosen ones that'll walk according to his ways, that have an ear to hear because they are listening. You can't really hear somebody if you're not intently listening for them. I know there's many times when somebody might be speaking to me, I'm not hearing them, even though they're speaking. I'm listening to what's going on around, but I'm not really focusing in on the one thing that I should be. And I guess I'm using this as an example. When somebody's speaking to you and you're in la-la land, I guess you will, and then all of a sudden you turn and look at him like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I know I'm guilty of that. So I believe that it's got to be somebody that's tuning in intentionally. They're listening with ears to hear. They want to hear. It's like tuning in that radio, that old static radio. Once you find that signal that's real strong and tune it in, now the static goes away and you can hear clearly. And I think those are the ones that have an ear to hear, his people, the lost sheep that he's come to call out from this dark world. So I think it always equates back to those people is really the purpose of all of this. This whole thing of life that we've been given, I believe, is about that purpose, giving everybody an opportunity to hear what you're going to do with your life that you've been given. What's important to you? Where's your priorities, and what is your desires in this life? And I think that's what distinguishes, I think. So I hope that helps, Joan. I know we've tried our best to answer that for you. I hope that helps.
No, it's good. It's real good. I just wanted to point that out, that was there. That's all.
Very good. That's a good point out. Well, we thank you and we appreciate you as always. Always good to hear your voice and see your name on the board.
Oh, same here.
All right. Alrighty, I think is that Kefa? I think that's you with that Design D. I'm gonna unmute you. Good morning, Shabbat Shalom. Are you there? Hello, hello. All right, I don't look like they're with us. All righty, I think Ron, I'd like to call upon you next. Anything you'd like to add today, good sir? Oh, still got you muted. Oh, I'm muted.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you. I thank Yahuwah for the word, because the word is always encouraging, and I know that there's a lot of things going on, and I need the encouragement to make it through the day. But thank you for the message today on obedience. And I keep on thinking about that verse in the Bible that says obedience is better than sacrifice. And
yeah.
It is wisdom to obey. A lot of wisdom in that. Just so thankful for the word.
Oh yeah, well, that is our guide for sure. I appreciate that word when it speaks to us too. So thank you for your response and your input this morning. Melissa, good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Anything you'd like to add this morning? I'm not sure if we got a bad connection or what. I'm hearing choppy sounds. Okay. Sorry about that. We're not making you out. So hopefully you can hear us good and clear. All right. Susie, don't know if you're interested in sharing anything this morning, but I'll give you the opportunity if you'd like. Shabbat Shalom to you.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Hi, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. I was on last week. I don't know if you remember me, but I did join in. So the teaching that you did on obedience, that actually, it's quite interesting because I feel like Yahuwah has been dealing with me on obedience, and whether that's like during my job or at home. And so that was really, I feel like that was by his power and his ruka, something that I need to work on a lot more in my life. And yeah, it's great to hear everyone's reflection and how it's true. It's like we want to be so close to him and be obedient and just do everything that's right in his eyes, obeying his commandments, and just being like separate from the world. And it can be a challenge at times. And I do like that word that you had said in regards to obedience. I forget how you pronounce. Sorry? Shema. Yeah, that's so cool. So Shema, I just, it is my heart's desire to obviously become obedient and just to really work on that. So I thank you for your message and thank you for all your work that you do. And enjoy the rest of your day and everyone. And thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your input. It's much appreciated. And definitely happy to see that you returned. Must have heard something that spoke to you. So very, very grateful for all his people that walk with us. So
Yes. Oh, thank you too.
All righty. Shabbat shalom to you.
Shabbat shalom to you too.
Hallelujah. All righty. Let me see. Is there anyone left that I have missed? Oh, Galaxy J7 Prime. I'm not sure who that is. Would you like to introduce yourself and give us any thoughts this morning?
Hey, brothers. Shabbat shalom.
Oh, look at who showed up.
Yeah, I got
a brother. Good morning.
A new phone, man. So I'm just trying to get back into the motion here.
I hear you.
You know what, man? Everybody, peace and blessings to everybody. I think that's a beautiful message, and I really take it in a lot, because I think sometimes, when we walk, we forget. Coming out of the other walk, you weren't told to be obedient as much. You were just told that you're good the way you are, and that kind of thing. And and I think it's really important, especially for me as a parent, to teach my children, just like they need to be obedient to me. We need to be obedient to our Father,
Exactly.
And I can't stress that enough. As I started seeing the word, and with like, a lot of brothers and sisters say, with new lenses, I see it everywhere. And I was just looking at it right now on the Blue Letter Bible. I said, let me see how many times. And I just looked up obey, and I seen it 65 times. So I think that, I thank you, man, for bringing this up, because we need to be reminded, constantly, that obedience is not, it's always followed with commandments. It's always followed with statutes and laws, and you see it and you say, wow, like, and I love that verse, if you love me, you'll follow my commandments, and it's about obedience. And so, I don't know, you really hit home with that, in my heart, and I know with everybody else. And I'm gonna continue to struggle and strive to be obedient. You know what I mean? And I gotta humble myself at times to reflect and look at myself and say, what am I doing wrong? So I wanna please the Father. As much as I know the world out there saying, hey, you're all right. Don't worry about it. You just do what you want. Nah, man. It kind of makes me want to break down, because I said, man, what was I doing yesterday? What was I doing the day before? And what I got to do today and tomorrow? So thank you. Even my chickens are talking. Thank you very much, man, for bringing this up. Thank you very much. I mean, every study is always one of those, you know what I mean? Those things that just says, hey, go back in the Word and look, and you see it. It's all there. It's all there, man. So peace and blessings to everybody. My love to everybody. I love y'all. Thank you for this fellowship. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you very much.
Appreciate you and your input for sure. And you hit on some key facts again. I mean, when you think about those things, it all does really line back up to the commandments, the Sabbaths. Those are things that are important to him.
Yeah. And again, like I said, we get told so many times when we're, I was walking and, going to church, and I'm hoping to have that physical fellowship, and that people that can tell you, hey, you're not being obedient. Correct yourself. Like, I need that. I need somebody to judge me and say, you are doing this wrong. You are doing that wrong. We need that judgment. Too much of the, don't judge, only God can judge you, that type of thinking, it really corrupts us.
It does, because it's not even scriptural.
Yeah, it's not, man. And so, and I'm taking that because it connects with obedience. If nobody judges us and tells us you're being disobedient, then we're gonna keep walking in disobedience.
That's a good point.
And we're not pleasing, man. So
that's a great point.
man, it makes me emotional too, you know, thinking about what you were talking about. And I go back, like I said, you know, I love it, man. Thank you very much. You know,
Oh,
thank
you're
you very
most
much.
welcome. What you said has made Rod pop up. You know, I think you stirred something over there in that corner. Yeah, I got to
Thank
turn
you
my
very
picture on. I want you to see my face.
Hey, man, you know what I mean? I'm going to go back to hip hop, you know, and just start letting people know, man. Hey, but again, much love and peace and blessings to everybody. And I'm going to be right here listening to all the good thoughts and words, you know, because it touches me. So thank you again.
Yeah, you're welcome, my friend. You know, we feed each other. We feed off of each other, you know, and when we put the word out there like that, we become that vessel.
Yeah.
The vessel that's going to give life to this word. Because really, if you think about it, what we're really doing is we're giving that word our own breath. So we're kind of bringing that back to life. And if you really think about that, that's pretty powerful. I mean, we don't really think about it in those terms, but Yahuwah spoke, and it happened.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's saying, speak my word back to me, and it won't return to me void. There's a key here. Okay, now let's say something back to him. Let's use his word and put it to, wow, it's working. And then it amazes us. But then, you know, we don't really go down that. But at that hearing, what is the word saying? And then believing it enough to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it into practice. I'm going to put this to the test.
Yeah.
You know, if we don't ever push the edges of the boundaries of this walk to going outside of what we really feel comfortable with, we're going to stay kind of dormant, if you will. You know, he's calling us to kind of break out of this staleness, this cocoon that we've been in, and we're growing to blossom into something beautiful. And because you got an ear to hear them words, it's starting to do something inside of you that's making something grow. You know, it's like that water on that seed that's been dormant in the ground for so long. Now, since water that's starting to sprout, sometimes that growth is a little uncomfortable, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, once you start sprouting and start producing some fruit, it all is worth it in the end. And, you know, I'm just glad that I have been given ears to hear as we hear today, and actually being a doer, because I'm starting to gain more enjoyment out of doing than I ever have before, because I'm seeing the fruits of the doing, you know, starting to see him acting in my life and those around me, and answering prayers. And man, when you start to actually see it happening and hear the testimonies of others that are walking in and having the same experience, I don't know how you can stay the same.
Yeah.
It moves you. It really does on a deeper level than just this physical body, you know? You know, so I appreciate each and every one of you's input, because it's great to hear other people's perspectives on things, and it opens up your thoughts and your chain of thought on things, and it even removes some of those scales from your eyes, you know? They don't just all fall off at once. I mean, I think they come off. The more we go, the more stuff gets removed, and it's like, whoa, this is a different world over here than I ever seen before, you know?
Yeah.
You see things differently, I think, when you start walking this in truth and in honesty, and really pursuing this with all your effort. You know, if you're in love with, for you instance, or me, if you're falling in love with somebody, you're pursuing them. You're not going to let them get away from you. You're going to want to get deeper in a relationship. You want to know more, you know, all of the little deep intricacies. And I think that's the same way with us and Yahuwah. You know, we have an idea of him from the book, but it's not until you really press in and begin to live this life and walk it every day that you start seeing him through a different way than I ever seen him before. You know, I hear him differently than I ever have before, you know?
Yeah.
That goes through the process of, you know, shedding all this. Ugh.
Yeah. And you know what? And talking about marriage, you know, when I married my wife, that was just the beginning. That was just the beginning. And we grew and grow, and we're still growing. And I want to show her I love her every day. You know, we talk about the marriage to the, you know, we are, you know, in that marriage with the Father, and we say, I want to show him I love him every day. And even if I do, you know, stumble here and there and I trip up, You know, I love that psalm. I think it's a psalm or a proverb that says, you know, the righteous man gets up 7 times. And just going back and showing our love, because I mean, as like I said with my wife, I want to show her I love her every day, and I don't want it just to be like a one-time deal, like, oh, we're married, okay, that's it. You know, I want to continue constantly getting to know her more and more every day, and it's the same thing, going in the Word and getting to know the Father more and more deeper, and strengthening that relationship. And that's the only way, like you guys were talking about earlier, is I want to be obedient and show my obedience every day. And man, this has been a big one, man. It's been a big message in my heart, because I've been just really always seeing this. And when I talk to people about it, it becomes like, oh, well, you know, it's a side note, but
it ain't a side note with Yahuwah. This is a main topic for him. It's like, you know, without this, do you really have any relationship?
Yeah, we need to stress this, and I hope people. I try to stress it on my family and friends, and it's again, you're sparking it up to, hey, go and stress it on the people. So,
yeah. Well, somebody gotta do some sparking over here. You gotta set that thing on fire. Come on. Yeah, I want to get a big blaze going.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to stress it, man. So definitely, you know, I'm just gonna sit back though and think about everything, you know, and keep on trying, man. I gotta keep on being obedient, you know. So
we all do, my friend. We all do. Every one of us. It's every day.
Yeah.
You know? It don't change.
No.
I think that goes to show us our hearts, though. If we really want to know what we're in love with, or who we are passionate about, what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
You know, who are you pursuing? What are you pursuing? What are you doing? You know, I think that reveals more to you about yourself than anything else. You know.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, that topic is not one most people want to hear. You know, obedience is usually a bad word. You know. But it really isn't. When I find the more I get over here, the more I like walking this way, the more I try to walk this way. You know, 'cause I'm constantly looking at, man, I just messed up there. I gotta do better. You know, forgive me and help me to do something better next time. You know, and that's where we grow, and all of that type of stuff comes from our obedience. So appreciate you, friend. I really do. I appreciate your input, and it's good to see other people that actually love this stuff as much as I do. You know,
hey, we need each other, man. We all need each other, man. We truly do. I truly do, man. I'm like I say, I'm so thankful for the fellowship. I'm thankful for the brothers and sisters that are on here, and I'm gonna continue to be here because I need this, man. It helps me.
I need you too. That's why I come running back every Shabbat. I can't get here fast enough.
All praise to Yahuwah, man. You know, all praise, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
Most welcome. I see a brother D up in the corner up there. You know, I'm coming to you next. Good to see you. Shabbat shalom, my friend.
Shalom, brother. Can you hear me?
I can.
There probably echoes over here because me and my wife are using the phone on different phones.
Oh, I don't hear too much of an echo on my side yet.
Okay, cool. It's just on our side. You just got to lower your volume. Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
I'm going to mute my side. Maybe that'll.
Good morning. Good morning. Sitting here having my coffee. Coffee. I spilled a little bit coffee right now. I spilled a little coffee on the table. Have my eggs with a little pepper, a little sugar in my coffee.
What's up with this accent? Where's this coming from?
It's coming from New York.
New York?
New Yorkers all the time now. I work with New Yorkers all week.
Oh, boy.
You know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I had a good time last night, fellowshipping with Emily, Gina, and Marcus, brother Dimitri, and Gladys, and her husband Richard, or her fiance, I should say. Yep, he came. And we were by the beach, seeing the sunset. And then we started talking about immersions and, you know, going into the scriptures about that. But didn't get home till about 3 in the morning. So had a good time, and just getting up. So I missed a lot of this morning, Brother Richard.
Well, that's okay, because you got home at 3. I got home at 7.
Ooh, I don't know how you do it. How you do it, brother?
Hey, it's determination, my friend. You know, you want something bad enough, you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
That's why you see me about 3, 4 o'clock-ish. You don't see me no more for a minute.
Right. No doubt. Understandable. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for standing your position on the watchtower.
Well, I got to until I can hand off the baton to my brother on the other side.
Right.
The New Yorker.
The New Yorker.
All righty, well, I appreciate you. Anybody else got their hands up that want to say something before we end this recording? All right, going once, twice, and it is Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Have a good day. Love you.